Welcome back to Budget Day Live. Our entire effort through the next 3 hours is to get you the most seasoned and experienced voices from the government, from the cabinet, from the policy-making world, and of course from the opposition. And delighted to have with us in the studio now Union Minister for Telecom and Information Technology, Mr. Kapil Sibal. Thank you very much. Who is also a very key member of all the political decisions taken by the government. Mr. Sibal, that's why my question to you really, Navika is better than me at economics. But as a political journalist, what fascinates me is that there is zero populism in this budget. There was zero populism in the railway budget. Is this a sort of a well thought out decision? Because the expectation had been that this budget would be purely aimed at somewhere buying over the vote.
Well, assuming we had gone for a populist railway budget and a populist budget through Chidambaram, how then do we justify whoever comes to power next time and the people of India that, look, we gave a populist budget, we sold you a dream which obviously could not be realized. I think finance ministers and railway ministers owe a responsibility, not just for election purposes, but to the people of this country, that we must state the facts, we must tell them what the reality is, we must have our head firm on our shoulders, our feet on the ground, and tell the people of India the truth. And then, on the basis of that, if we have to tighten our belts, we say, let's all tighten our belts.
Is it possible just that this is happening because the belts are already quite tight? There isn't much leg room, really, given the...
If you want to be profligate, you can do it. You can sell a dream, and you can say, let the next finance minister deal with it.
But you did that in 2008 when you gave the farm loan waiver. You did announce those SOPs. You were going into an election in 2009. Why has there been a course correction in UPA 2?
Well, at that point in time, as you know, that the economy was doing exceptionally well. I mean, the downturn came after that. And we had to give the stimulus package after that. So when the economy is doing well, when you have 2 years of 9% growth, you can do all those things. But when you are in a downturn, when your demand abroad is reducing, your exports are coming down, your tax GDP ratio is now 9% instead of the 11% it ought to be, right? Where are you going to get the money from? So you have to be practical. You have to tell. So I think 2008 was different. 2013, it's like auctioning of the spectrum. What happened in 2010 will not happen in 2013.
Can I take off from that and ask you? Bang on, actually, Mr. Chidambaram. Mr. Chidambaram made a point about a disinvestment target of 55,000 crore. Now, the spectrum sale has not been successful. Is that a very tall commitment to make, that I'm going to raise 55,000 crores, when given the recent experience?
Well, I think that these 55,000 crores have to be divided into two figures: 40,000 crores from disinvestment, and 15,000 crores from Government of India holding certain shares in companies, non-government companies, and they can be sort of divested. So I think 40,000 crores is certainly a doable target. But let me tell you about spectrum. We have said that we'll get you 40,000 crores. Of the 40,000 crores, about 20,000 crores is just license fee and profit sharing. Only 21,000 crores is through auction. I think 21,000 crores is doable. So I think, at least from my point of view, from spectrum sale, this is clearly doable.
The other point, I mean, please don't think we are carping about the details, but I want to get these issues straight for a wider audience. I'll lay this question and request Navika to actually go into detail. The question here is, Mr. Sibal, that has the finance minister made all these right noises on flagship schemes, but there is a constituency which believes, and Navika can elaborate more, that there are no actual allocations on those in the budget. Navika, would you like to just elaborate on that? Where is the cynicism
Mr. Sibal, there was a provision of 75,000 crore for food subsidy. It's gone up to 85,000 crore in the revised estimates, but the provision for next year is only 90,000 crore. So that's only 5,000 crore extra only on the food subsidy bill. But Mr. Chidambaram made an announcement that would be a provision of 10,000 crore extra for the food security bill.
So
where is the provisioning?
A shortfall
of 5. But
shortfall
you are now
of 5.
assuming...
No, shortfall of 5, assuming that the food subsidy bill would remain at the same level last year.
Yes.
And the fact that there needs to be another provision of 10,000.
You have supplementary demands, as you know. And so there are going to be revenues that are going to come in. We are expecting the economy next year to grow at between 6.1 to 6.7%. So I don't think that you can limit yourself merely to the budget estimates today when we know that the economy is going to grow. I think personally, the kind of foundations he has laid for expanding the economy and incentivizing investment from abroad, and now with the foreign trade policy being announced next month, we're going to give a huge boost to exports. On the manufacturing side, there are huge boosts given to us through the electronics.
But you do agree that the provision is not there in the budget, and supplementary grants for demands is where you will get it. And then where does that leave the credit rating agencies, which will be looking at the fiscal deficit number?
Please understand that when he says that at the moment the food security bill is not passed, we don't know what is the extent.
But the announcement is there. The question is about allocation versus announcement.
The idea is to say that we will give you 10,000 crores for food security if it is needed.
So from one pocket to another?
There's no question of one pocket. You say there's only a deficit of 5. 5 is there already. And the balance 5 will come because he has promised. Because remember, many a time allocations are made, and this is something I hear on television channels all the time. Last year the allocation was X, but nothing was given. Remember, when allocations are made, then schemes have to be put into practice. Then approvals have to be taken. Then it has to be implemented on the ground. By the time the implementation takes place, there is not enough time to spend the money, and therefore there's a shortfall. And then the criticism is, look, this was just something artificial.
This is actually, Mr. Sibal, can I explain this to you on a more light-hearted note? This is our opportunity to go into these details before we start the political debate later in the evening. It's by way of clarification, not accusation. The question really is, do the numbers really add up? Can I just pick up one more? I take your explanations for what you said about the 5,000 crores. The bigger number is on the budgeted fuel subsidy for 2012-2013, which is for 2012-13 was 43,000 some crores, and the revised estimate was 96,879 crores. For the next fiscal, the government is allocated somewhere in between, closer to the budgeted estimate of about 65,000 crores. Mr. Sibal, given the global trends, does this not appear woefully inadequate and unrealistic, given the fact that diesel prices are being rationally hiked on the one side, crude oil prices are on the rise? How will this be made up?
You must understand that ultimately governments will have to take decisions to ensure that the subsidy bill is reduced. Right? When a finance minister presents a budget, he knows that ultimately we cannot sustain the subsidy. The subsidy bill today is 2,31,000 crores. How can any country afford this kind of a subsidy bill? So we're trying to rationalize the whole situation, whether it's diesel or it's petroleum prices. At some stage, we'll have to make sure that the consumer has to pay what the market price is. But at the same time, we have to provide enough.
Have you provided enough?
Yes, we have provided enough for the subsidy bill, and in case there is we'll see what happens.
Now, so are you assuming that, to put it more simply, that prices will generally go up quite a bit in the next fiscal, fuel prices for the...
Well, we don't know. The international price is at the moment around 818.
Yes.
Right? We don't know. It may come down, it may go up, we don't know. But this is an imponderable. This is something that we are importing. But 75 to 80% we are importing.
Mr. Sibal, there are two very important parts of the budget which rely a huge amount on the decision-taking capability of the government. One is the issue of all the pending projects which run into lakhs of crores, which are before the Cabinet Committee on Investment, which the Finance Minister did refer to. The second part is, of course, the pricing policy for oil and natural gas, which he's spoken about, where you move from a profit-sharing model to a revenue-sharing model.
Yes.
Both of these are reform steps,
right.
But it really puts a huge amount of pressure on the government and its speed of taking decisions, which hasn't really given too much confidence to people, because the decision-making process in the UPA 2 has been rather slow. Do you think there's going to be a major shift in that process of decision-making?
I don't know why you say the decision. I mean, see, if I look back at my decisions, I can say I could have done them better. But if you have a general average growth rate of 8%, during the 11th plan, as opposed to 5.6% in the 10th plan, obviously the UPA has done better. I mean, the UPA has done well, 8% growth rate from any standard.
That's a long average.
It's a great...
over a long period.
I mean, so we've not mismanaged the economy despite the fact that there's been a global turndown.